All right, let's talk about UFOs. For just a minute, though, let's set aside the little green men, the government cover-ups, the whole shebang. We're going to dive into a much, much stranger idea. It comes from the work of investigator Jose Antonio Caravaca, and it suggests the real key to this whole mystery isn't out there in the stars, but right inside our own heads. So are you ready to pull on a very, very strange thread? Let's get into it.
Okay, so to really get to the bottom of this, we've got to look past the classic image of a silver disk zipping across the sky. See, it turns out that not all unidentified objects are created equal. And if we want to understand what's really going on in the most bizarre cases, we first have to separate the stuff we can probably explain from the stuff that is truly, deeply weird.
And this is where we have to make a really important distinction. On one side, you've got your basic UFOs. That's kind of the junk drawer for anything in the sky we can't pin down right away. But the real mystery, the thing we're digging into today, is in this other category, the flying saucer encounters. These are those up-close personal events, the ones packed with what researchers call high strangeness. They're so bizarre, you just can't write them off as a drone or a weather balloon. This is the phenomenon we're talking about.
So what is it that makes these close encounters so strange? It's not just about seeing weird lights or a craft that can't possibly exist. No, it's about this baffling, almost intimate connection that seems to snap into place between the event and the person witnessing it. One investigator had a powerful name for it: an invisible thread.
This quote from Caravaca says it all, really, as if both were connected by an invisible thread. It's this idea that the witness isn't just watching a show, they are fundamentally part of the event itself. And that's the thread we're going to pull on for the rest of this.
So how does this invisible thread actually show up? Well, for decades now, researchers have been noticing something odd. These encounters, they often feel less like someone's showing off their cool spaceship and a lot more like a psychic intrusion.
It's wild because over and over again, you see these same strange patterns pop up. The phenomenon seems to know what a person is about to do. Witnesses get the distinct feeling their thoughts are being read. Some people even talk about this overwhelming urge, a compulsion that leads them to just the right spot at just the right time for an encounter to happen. It's like some kind of active intelligence is playing chess with their mind.
Okay, so a lot of witnesses just say, "Oh, they spoke to me telepathically." Sounds simple, right? Well, that one little word opens up this massive can of worms that almost nobody ever talks about.
For telepathy to actually work, the thing doing the communicating would need an absolutely breathtaking knowledge of our brains. I mean, just think about it. It would have to tap into your memories, understand your language, know your cultural symbols, and somehow get past all your emotional filters, just to land a single, clear thought in your head. So the real question isn't if it's telepathy, but what kind of intelligence could possibly have that deep of a user manual for the human mind?
And it doesn't stop with just communication. The intrusion goes way deeper. For a lot of these witnesses, the encounter is defined by a total shift in their perception of reality itself.
People often describe what they call a bell of silence. All the normal sounds of the world just fade to nothing. They feel like they're in a trance. And then, of course, there's the big one, the altered perception of time, the classic missing time phenomenon. All of these clues point in the same direction. This thing isn't just happening out there in front of them, it's also happening inside their own consciousness.
Okay, so let's think about this for a second. If this phenomenon really is connected to the mind, you'd expect it to be kind of unstable, right? Personal, inconsistent. And when you look back at the history of these encounters, well, that's exactly what you find.
And this right here? This is a massive problem for the classic aliens from planet Zorp are visiting us theory. There's no standard issue spaceship. The designs of the craft, the descriptions of the beings inside, they change wildly from person to person. There's just no consistent model. It's almost like the phenomenon is being custom built for every single encounter.
This huge inconsistency forces us to ask a really fascinating question. Are we dealing with thousands of different visitors from thousands of different planets? Or, and this is where it gets really interesting, could it be the same thing every time, just wearing a different cultural costume?
Now, this timeline suggests something truly radical. The idea is that the fairies and elves from ancient stories, the religious visions people had in the Middle Ages, and the alien encounters of today are all just different masks worn by the exact same phenomenon. It literally adapts its costume to match the beliefs and expectations of the person and their time period, which would only be possible if it had that deep psychic connection we've been talking about.
Okay, get ready.
because this next part might just be the single most compelling piece of evidence for this entire hypothesis. This is the moment that seems to prove, pretty directly, that the witness's mind isn't just watching the event, it's actually participating in it.
Get this. In a surprising number of these high strangeness cases, the encounter doesn't just end on its own. The witness can actively make it end. They have an off switch.
And the way it happens is remarkably consistent across these cases. An encounter is going on, the witness, usually terrified, musters all their internal will and decides, no more. They shut out something that has deep personal power for them, a prayer, a mantra, sometimes just a powerful no. And in that instant, the entire thing vanishes. It doesn't fly away, it just turns off, like a TV. This little detail connects modern UFO cases directly to ancient stories about how you ward off fairies or demons, suggesting it's all the same thing.
So, when we put all the pieces together, the psychic connection, the way it changes its appearance, that mental off switch, where does that leave us? Well, it all points to a conclusion that is seriously mind-bending.
Probably the best way to think about this is with a concept called a liminal experience. Basically, it's when your consciousness is on a threshold. You're in this fuzzy zone, somewhere between normal waking reality and the symbolic, dreamlike world of your subconscious. It seems that these encounters don't happen in our world or in our heads, but right there in that liminal space.
And this brings us to the final core idea. The phenomenon might not be some external visitor in a nuts and bolts ship at all. It might be more like a mirror, a crazy carnival mirror that takes our collective myths, our fears, our hopes, and reflects them back at us in a distorted form. Or maybe it's a blank canvas, and the deepest parts of our own minds are projecting the entire show.
Now, let's be super clear about this. This theory is not dismissing these experiences. It's not saying it's all in your head. It's proposing something way more radical. That your head, your consciousness, is an active, essential ingredient in making the event happen. The observer and the observed are tangled together by that invisible thread.
And so that leaves us with one final big question to chew on. When we chase down these stories of close encounters, are we actually looking for life in the vastness of outer space? Or have we accidentally found a way to look into the vastness of the human psyche, and we're just staring at a reflection of ourselves? Something to think about.